Hi, I'm Addison Kaywood, Poet Laureate of the Defense of Democracy and host of this podcast. The attack on America's public school system isn't slowing down, but neither are we. Here you'll meet authors, educators, students, and defenders from across the country who aren't just sounding the alarm, they're answering it. You'll be informed, you'll be moved, and if we've done our job right, you'll be ready to stand with us. This is the Defense of Democracy podcast. Let's get into it. Hello, friends, families, and allies. Welcome to the Defense of Democracy podcast. I'm your host, Addison K. Witt, Poet Laureate of Defense of Democracy. This is where we bring together writers, advocates, educators, and everyday citizens to talk about what's at stake in America's classrooms, libraries, and communities. As an actor and writer myself, I know stories are the foundation of our craft. Every script, every performance, every protest chant, it all begins with words on a page. That's why book banning doesn't just attack students or libraries. It attacks creativity itself. My guest today embodies that connection. Olivia Negron is an actress, advocate, and the founder of Studio City Rising, a weekly peaceful protest in California. She's a voice for justice. And in the power of the culture shift, let's welcome Olivia to the conversation.
Thank you so much.
Olivia.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with the Poet Laureate of Defense of Democracy.
Thank you. It's definitely, we have a mutual friend in Anita Lee, and she speaks so highly of you and the work that you've been doing. And I've had a chance to look at some of your work on screen and watch you and even go online and see some of the protests live in action there. And the standing center and standing on business there. So let's talk a little bit about you as an actress and storyteller. When did reading first become a meaningful part of your life?
Oh, I have been an avid reader since Miss Lovely, my first grade teacher, taught me to read. And I'm a very wide reader. As a matter of fact, I met the co-founder of Studio City Rising, Cheryl Bianchi, at our book club, and we read everything. So that is fundamental. And I have been really shocked by the book banning. And have we not read Fahrenheit 451? It's so un-American. I can't believe it's happening in this country. But until this year in April, that's the first time that I actually walked out in protest, left my home and walked to the corner, called Cheryl. Cheryl called Anita. Cheryl's husband, Robert Mozajewski, came, and the four of us started just standing up in protest at Laurel Canyon and Ventura Boulevard. Immediately, you'll appreciate this, I'm sure, Addison, I wore a draping and a little silver-looking crown to attract attention and to signify that our protest is aligned with the highest ideals of our country, with the philosophy of enlightenment, which is what the crown represents, that we are letting the light into our minds and we're allowing the scientific process and facts lead us to a more perfect society, right? And I wear the drape to signify that I am embodying the ideals of our country. I was raised in the military, and I inculcated the mission of defense of democracy with mother's milk. I have held it sacred all my life. I was a dependent daughter for 18 years. I held a military ID card. When we were on base at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and taps sounded, the car stopped and we all got out of the car and put our hands over our hearts. That is my culture. And so when the society started deploying military in open defiance of posse comitatus to American cities, it's shocking. It's shocking. What else can we do but stand up and protest? I got myself a megaphone and handed it to somebody else at first. And I had to be taught by our protester, Caroline, how to stand there and talk into a microphone for 2 hours. And
wow.
It's hard. You have to hold that microphone and you have to manage your breath as an actor, and it's
Yeah.
like a 2 hour monologue, really,
Yeah.
so, but I always say the same thing, that we're all here for different reasons, but we all love our country and we all hate what we see happening to it.
Well, I love that you, number one, went back into childhood to share a little bit about yourself and your own history. That's very important. But what I also hear is that this is very deeply personal because of your upbringing, your family, and the respect that you had for military, for the culture, for the country. And so, how did that? You shared some of it, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about just how personal this is and what your family imbued in you.
Well, we were, my parents are first generation Mexican and Puerto Rican. Uh,
Hmm.
None of my grandparents spoke English, although one grandfather was multilingual and he was a poet from Puerto Rico, which is America, by the way. So he was an
Right.
American Puerto Rican, right? And after World War One, he came to the mainland and became an editor and a poet. Uh, but I think it was always really important to my family that my father, who grew up a barefoot boy in Laredo, Texas, was wearing a uniform of a United States naval officer. He flew jet fighter planes for the Navy, and he was in the Navy for 20 years. His brother was a lawyer for the Navy. His nephew was a judge in Texas. My sister was a doctor. This is the immigrant story. And a big part of it was the military. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate your poem, Addison Witt. Thumbs
Mm.
up in Arlington,
Oh, thank you.
because respect for the sacrifice of our military is what goes, it just lights up that poem. And that's exactly what we're talking about. What do we respect in this country? Do we respect the right to read a book and not have somebody else tell you which books you may read? I can't believe the books that are being banned. I think Brave New World is banned. Fahrenheit 451 is banned. It's crazy. I
Yeah.
think
Shocking.
Huckleberry Finn is banned.
To Kill a Mockingbird was on the list. I mean,
And so I go with Ari's book banning club, on Saturday mornings. So I joined that. Uh, that's a lot of fun. But you were asking about our protest and what makes
yeah,
it.
because I wanted to get into that. In fact, you do lead the Studio City Rising, which is a weekly protest that blends art, community, and civic action. And I wanted to know, how do you see performance and advocacy intersecting?
Well, you cannot hold people's attention to put forward your point of view unless you're theatrical in some way. And so the
Mhm.
street theater of Hands Across the Valley, the street theater of wearing the draping and the crown in our protests is what draws attention. And then they hear what we're talking about. When they agree with us, they're honking. It is it's very organic how it's happened. A lot of people come with flags because, and isn't it interesting, Addison, how we have taken the flag back
Yes.
in our protests? That used to be that when I was carrying a flag or wearing a flag, people would assume I was MAGA.
Hmm.
They don't assume that anymore. I'm really appreciative that you're having us on. It's really going to help. Our
Well,
best recruiter is the president himself. Every time he does something more outrageous, more people come. As long as we're consistent and we're there every Saturday and we
I
start
was
right
wondering that.
at 11 o'clock, you know, and then we're indivisible on Sundays in the same place.
Do you think your background as an actress changes the way you show up in activism?
Addison, after about 3 or 4 weeks, it hit me. I kind of came out of this little fog that I kind of like got to the corner in a trance the first
Mm,
couple of weeks. And then when I started thinking about it, I realized everything in my life had prepared me for this moment. It's like you say, this is our moment. We are called. We are
yeah.
called by our country to stand up, show up, speak up, right? And
Yes.
and then I realized like 3 weeks in, I thought everything in my life has prepared me for this. My military background, my acting background, my facility for costumes and directing and knowing what catches the eye, a background in philosophy that teaches me what the country is founded on, my background in history that teaches me what happens to countries to whom this happens, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
all of that comes into play. And as I'm rapping to the people and speaking about what is concerning us and reading the signs to them, all of that synthesizes into our presence on Andrei Sakharov Square, which is where we're holding our protest at Laurel Canyon and Ventura Boulevards.
You mentioned that it definitely is consistent, and each time, whether the president or something outrageous happens in our country, you're gaining more visibility, more
Mhm.
people are showing up. I
Mhm.
was wondering and curious about the number of people that are showing up. Is it consistent? Are you seeing a lot of the same people? Are there new people being added? How is the community at large responding to you being there on a regular basis?
It's interesting. It's just like Lin Manuel Miranda says, you get love for it, you get hate for it, you get
Yeah,
nothing, you wait for it, right?
right.
So we get love for it, we get hate for it, right? But it's really important to me, Addison, that we maintain a family friendly tone. It's a peaceful protest. We have good trouble bubble machines that crank out
Mhm,
bubbles, that give it a very festive air. And I have a lot of people saying, we're not throwing a party. This is serious business. It is serious business, but
mhm.
we're throwing a party too. We want to bring the whole country in. I had one protester who taught me something really important. He said that the leadership has come up with a number 13.5 million Americans. We need 13.5 million Americans to stand up in consistent protest against this administration in order to turn the ship of state around.
I love that. Well, that brings
You
us
can be one
into,
of us, is what I always tell people. Yeah,
well, pretty
one of
much.
us.
Exactly. And by sharing this message today, we open the door and invitation for others to come in and be a part of what you're doing.
Absolutely. That is a big part of the message, which is all are welcome, which is now something that an elementary school teacher is not allowed to post in her classroom. In this age of Trump, in this age of censorship, you are not allowed to put up a sign in your classroom that says, all are welcome. Look it up, Addison.
Wow.
Yes, wow, indeed. This is our country. That's why we're out there protesting, because all are welcome. We
Right.
invite the immigrant. The American dream is so clear from a distance. They see us, they want it. They want the freedom, they want the
Yeah.
liberty, they want the opportunity, right? And so they come because we invited them. We invited them with our constitution, with our declaration, with our way of life that we put into the world, with every movie, every poem, every song that we put into the world that talks about our American way of life invites them. The most curious, courageous, happy, productive people in the world want to come to the United States of America. And so we should welcome them. And if they're undocumented, we have a State Department. Document them. The president created 1.5 million undocumented people with the stroke of a pen. They were in the process of getting their citizenship. And he just said, no, we're not going to have that anymore. And so their peculiar process, which is very long and convoluted, and I don't think the president could answer the questions that the immigrants are required to answer in order to become citizens. And he's sitting in the Oval Office, right? And so they come, and when they show up to their convoluted appointment, they're arrested by ICE and told that their paperwork is no longer good. They are illegal and they are deported to some foreign torture prison. This is not the America that my family defended in World War II.
Wow, you have so much. I love your passion, and I can see why you're leading this group and this movement, because you're very passionate about what you believe about your country, your community, and your craft and work. This month, go ahead, go ahead.
I must say that I feel like not on my watch, not while I'm alive, not while I have breath in my body, am I going to stop protesting. What happened to Musa Oxturk, an observant Muslim woman walking down the street on her way to, I believe, a religious organization meeting, and she is accosted by masked men on the sidewalk who put hands on her and throw her into an unmarked van. I have seen grown men burst into tears talking about that, the terror on her face in the United States of America. They're trying to make us afraid, Addison. Fear is the opposite of freedom. It's just like it says in Hamilton. Each man, Washington, when he's retiring, he says, I want to sit under a fig tree, under my own vine, and no one shall make me afraid, safe in the nation we've made. And no one should be able to make someone living in the United States of America afraid when they're not doing anything wrong, they're not breaking any laws, when they are paying taxes, when they are working, when they are raising families. If this were about illegal people, they wouldn't be finding them with the IRS because they're paying taxes. That's how they're finding them.
Right.
See that?
Right.
If this were about people who are gang members, they wouldn't be arresting them at their places of employment. Gang members generally don't have places of employment. And so why do they take away all these seamstresses, all the Hyundai workers? They're not gang members. They're not criminals. When Trump first came down the escalator and said that Mexicans were rapists and murderers to a paid crowd of extras who were paid $50 each to cheer whatever he said, well, I should have stood up then. We're not rapists. We're not murderers. We're Mexicans. We're Americans. And we're here to work. It was 6 weeks into the protest before I realized they're arresting people who look like me. I was there as an American. I was not there as a Latina. And
Right.
you can tell that I'm pretty well assimilated.
Right. That's right.
Don't really speak Spanish. Our parents wanted us to speak Shakespeare. They wanted us to be deep into the American English Anglo culture, right? And so here we are. They taught me to talk, and now I got a megaphone.
Speaking of that, and English, Americanism, reading Shakespeare, this October, Read Out Across America is spotlighting the freedom to read. What does that phrase, the right to read, mean to you personally?
To me personally, reading is everything. Reading is how I have seen the world. I myself have never been to Egypt. but I know the pyramids. I have read my way around the world, and I have read my way from Alexander, the cave people, to the stars. It it opens the universe for a person. If you can read, anything is possible.
It is. I couldn't agree more. I also know that with your you have sustained your weekly protests in Studio City, and that is no small feat. What advice do you have for others who want to start local organizing but feel it's too hard?
Well, if it's too hard, then it's too hard and you can't do it. It's only for people who, like I said, I was in a trance. I just sailed out my door to the corner. And it's almost like you get identified. Do you feel called? Do you feel pulled? There you go. What you can do if you're not protesting is be in contact with other human beings. Meet people's eye when you see them on the, say hi to strangers. You know, it's good to see you. Just be in connection with your fellow human beings. Get in touch with your empathy. Anita Lee, empathy girl, reminded us that empathy is our superpower. When we feel for the other, then we're truly in touch and we know what's right. We know not to throw people on the pavement and the way they're treating the ICE officers are being so brutal, so disrespectful doesn't cover it, but that's the root of it, that they're not treating people with respect. And so what we want to do as protesters, don't do more than you can. Don't feel like you're out there carrying a sign when you can't hold it up. Go home. Talk to your family. Do what you can. But those of us who are out there, wear good shoes, stay hydrated, stay cheerful. Don't poke each other's eyes out with your sign, stay out of traffic. All right. I'm just concerned that we're all safe and that we're all cheerful, because we're not going to save democracy by being miserable.
Correct.
You can't save it
Olivia,
without love.
Olivia, for listeners inspired by your story, how can they support or even replicate movements like Studio City Rising in their own communities?
Well, I say get yourself a paper plate, cut out a crown, cover it with aluminum foil, get yourself an $11 distressed flag scarf from Amazon, put a knot in it, wear it like Miss Liberty, and away you go.
And is it Miss Liberty? Is it that the local name that has now been assigned to you?
That's so funny. Well, Brad Sherman calls me Miss Liberty for sure. But what I really was sort of going for was freedom. Freedom triumphant in war and peace is the name of the statue on top of our Capitol, which was violated on January 6th. But the statue is a native woman wearing a serape, and she has a dramatic arrangement of feathers on her head. It looks like she's turning into an eagle. And she has a sword and she has a shield. And the name of that statue is Freedom Triumphant in War and Peace. That's what I was going for. Freedom will be triumphant. People need freedom. And the United States has been the major provider of freedom for these 250 years. We're Americans. We'll get through this too.
I believe that 100%. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. Olivia, I want to thank you for being with me today and for your passion, not only as an actress and storyteller, but as an advocate who shows up and understand what it means to bring art and activism together. Your work reminds us that creativity itself depends on the freedom to read, to imagine, and to share stories without fear. Thank you for your energy and your artistry and your commitment. I
Thank
really
you,
appreciate you
Ed.
being here.
It's been quite an honor.
If you are one of our regular listeners at the Defense of Democracy podcast, I want to ask for your support. Please like, share, and comment wherever you're tuning in. Your engagement helps this podcast grow, and it truly makes a difference. We can't do this without you. Your support is what keeps these conversations alive. Let's grow together. And I'll see you again soon.
Defense of Democracy is the only national, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization dedicated to protecting our schools and libraries from attacks by anti-government extremist organizations like Moms for Liberty. We count on listeners like you to support our work. If you would like to make a tax-deductible donation to Defense of Democracy, please visit defenseofdemocracy.org and click support. 100% of your contribution helps our work, including the production of this podcast. If you are a business and would like to learn about corporate sponsorships of the podcast, which start at $250 per month, please contact info@defenseofdemocracy.org.